Hi, my name is Eric Kispert, and I'm a relational life therapist and ordained deacon.
My name is Debbie Kispert, and I am a pastoral counselor. Eric and I have been married for 35 years, and we have worked together at our counseling center for the past 25. Today, we want to share a little bit about our workshop entitled Sacred Connections, Integrating Spirituality and Relational Life Therapy.
3 years ago, my colleague Ginger Sullivan and I had just completed an RLT boot camp in Maryland. Afterwards, Debbie and I traveled to Washington, D.C. for a couple days of R&R. While we were unwinding in the hotel lounge and processing the experience from the weekend, a thought came to us. What would it be like if we reversed engineered RLT skills back to sacred scripture? At that point, we asked the wait staff for a napkin and began to outline a program that integrated spiritual tenets with relational life skills.
With Terry's blessing, 12 months later, we went on to present our first full-day conference for 30 couples. Our original conversation in Washington, and this napkin is the genesis for us being here today.
In Montreal, we want to shift our focus back to the therapist and the coaches in the room, and to expand on Terry's concept of spiritual intimacy. Debbie and I want to empower the attendees with additional breadth and depth, just enough so that they leave hungry for more as they return to their offices on Monday.
Our talk will begin with the teaching component. We'll discuss working definitions and present research related to the topic. Then we'll highlight the synergy created when spirituality and relational life therapy are blended. With that said, we also will address the challenges of some faith systems that collide with relational life therapy, specifically around the area of patriarchy. We will also give the attendees an opportunity to explore their own spiritual practices. During a small group breakout, we will look at our childhood, our biases, and who's showing up in the treatment room. The real core of the presentation will be integrating all of this into our work with clients. Eric and I will provide a nuanced approach to data gathering, one that captures the complete spiritual context of the couple. We will give several examples of how to link major faith systems to RLT skills, self-esteem, boundaries, and the relational grid are some of what will be highlighted.
And as an homage to one of my original RLT coaches, Lisa Merlot Booth, we'll introduce a listing of spiritual tender sprinkles, as she used to say. And throughout the talk, we will infuse clinical stories to underscore the concepts. I remember a case I had years ago with Joel and Rosa. When I met them, he had just entered recovery for his sexual addiction. He was raised in the Orthodox Jewish tradition and identified as culturally Jewish and agnostic. She was a dyed-in-the-wool Catholic who was raised in Nicaragua. After we moved beyond the big-ticket items of treatment and got into what I call the finishing work, Joel and Rosa found a place where they could deepen their spiritual intimacy. They introduced the spiritual practice of reading the Psalms together every morning. This took Joel back to his roots, and Rosa felt connected to him at a soul level.
As you might imagine, Eric and I have worked for many years to deepen the spiritual intimacy within our own marriage. In addition to our counseling center, we are privileged to be leaders in our faith community. This allows us to model what it means to be relational champions, a term we have used for years in our office and in our lives. Because of this interesting walk that we share, it's not uncommon for us to be asked to perform spiritually based activities. This sometimes can make for blurred clinical lines.
As Debbie said, sometimes we find ourselves in dual relationships with our clients. This past New Year's Eve, I had the honor to witness the vows and to preach at the wedding of a couple who is also one of my clients. While it was a true blessing, it did come with its own challenges. As we conclude our talk, the dual relationships that we sometimes find ourselves in, these two will be discussed at the conference. In the end, we believe that our goal as therapists, with individuals and couples who want to include spiritual intimacy as part of their treatment, is to help them create a porthole into their souls, a porthole of spiritual intimacy, one that reads, "Into me you see."
We want to thank you for your consideration and wish you peace and blessings as we move into 2026. We hope to see you all in Montreal.